Imagine waking up in complete darkness. You try to move your arms, but something is pressing against your entire body. The air is thick. Every breath feels harder than the last. Your heart races. You scream, but your own voice echoes back at you. Then your trembling hands discover a zipper inches from your face. A body bag. Someone had already decided you were dead. And the terrifying part? They had reasons to believe it. This isn't a horror movie. It's a story inspired by real cases in which people were mistakenly declared dead or appeared dead before later being found alive. What happened next changed lives forever. Michael had spent years doing the same routine. Wake up before sunrise. Drink black coffee. Kiss his wife goodbye. Drive to work. Nothing about that morning felt unusual. He laughed with a coworker. Answered a few phone calls. Even made plans for the weekend. Then, everything went black. Witnesses rushed toward him. Someone shouted for an ambulance. Another person checked for a pulse. Minutes later, the paramedics arrived. They worked desperately. 1 minute. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. To everyone watching, there was no sign of life. A doctor later confirmed what nobody wanted to hear. Michael was gone. His family received the devastating call. His wife collapsed into tears. Friends gathered. Phones wouldn't stop ringing. By evening, his name was already being spoken in the past tense. The hospital staff prepared his body. Forms were signed. His belongings were placed into a small plastic bag, his wedding ring, his wallet, his watch. Everything that once represented a living man, now looked like memories. Finally, his body was placed inside a black body bag. The zipper slowly closed. Darkness. Complete silence. Hours passed. No one entered the room. No one expected anyone to. Because according to every official record, the man inside that bag was dead. Then, something impossible happened. A finger moved. Not once. Twice. Then a deep breath echoed inside the bag. Michael's eyes opened. He had no idea where he was. No idea why he couldn't move. No idea why the air felt like it was disappearing. He pushed against the heavy plastic. Nothing. He shouted. No answer. His heartbeat exploded with panic. Every second felt like his last. Then he felt the zipper. With shaking hands, he pulled it open. Michael pulled the zipper with every ounce of strength he had left. A thin line of light pierced the darkness. He gasped for air. His heart hammered against his chest as he forced the opening wider. Fresh air rushed into his lungs. For several seconds, he simply lay there, trying to understand what had just happened. Then survival instinct took over. He pushed himself upright and climbed out of the body bag. The room was freezing. Bright fluorescent lights reflected off stainless steel tables. Metal cabinets lined the walls. Everything was silent. Michael looked around in confusion. His legs trembled beneath him. He took one slow step. Then another. The floor felt like ice beneath his bare feet. A door stood at the end of the room. He reached for the handle. Locked. His breathing became faster. He banged on the metal door. Once. Twice. Then harder. Help. His voice was weak. Almost nothing came out. He hit the door again. Somebody, please. Outside the room, an orderly paused. He frowned. Had he just heard something? He stood perfectly still. Silence. He shook his head and started walking again. Then, another loud bang. This time there was no mistake. The sound had come from inside the morgue. His face turned pale. Slowly, he reached for the handle. The moment the door opened, he froze. Standing in front of him, pale, weak, barely able to stand, was Michael Carter. The same man whose death certificate had already been signed. The orderly stumbled backward in shock. "What? How are you?" Before he could finish, he shouted for help. Within seconds, doctors and nurses rushed into the corridor. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. Some stood speechless. Others immediately rushed to support Michael before he collapsed. He was alive. Against every expectation, he was alive. He was taken straight back into intensive care. This time, every heartbeat, every breath, every movement was monitored with absolute precision. News spread through the hospital at unbelievable speed. Doctors reviewed every record. Every scan, every examination, every decision. One question echoed through every department. How could this happen? Specialists eventually reached a conclusion. Michael had suffered an extremely rare medical emergency that caused his vital signs to become almost impossible to detect. His pulse had become incredibly faint. His breathing had slowed to nearly nothing. To everyone examining him, he appeared to have died. It was an extraordinarily rare situation, but one that medical literature has documented in a small number of cases. Several hours later, Sarah received another phone call. She answered with trembling hands. She expected questions about funeral arrangements. Instead, she heard words she never imagined. "Mrs. Carter. Your husband is alive." She couldn't speak. For several seconds, she simply stood there. Then tears filled her eyes. "What did you say?" "He's alive." She drove to the hospital faster than she had ever driven in her life. When she entered Michael's room, she stopped in the doorway. There he was. Weak. Exhausted. Confused. But smiling. Neither of them spoke. Words weren't enough. She wrapped her arms around him. And for a long moment, they simply cried. Sometimes, life gives us ordinary days we barely notice. Then, without warning, it reminds us how precious every single breath really is. Stories like Michael's also remind us why medicine continues to improve. Why second opinions matter. Why careful observation saves lives. And why hope should never disappear too quickly. Because sometimes, the impossible is simply something we don't yet fully understand. If this story kept you watching until the very end, you're exactly the kind of person this channel was created for. Subscribe now, because the next story is even more unbelievable. And this time, it's something investigators still struggle to explain.